largest lion population in Zambia, this wild valley is ruled down to the very last inch by the lion. Under its thunderous roar, even master hunters like the wild dog yield. And the untamed, like hippos packed tightly in the swamps, tolerate no intrusion, not even from the king himself. South Luangwa National Park. It was here that the concept of the first walking safari was born, a way for humans to experience nature through slow, respectful steps. Before we dive into all of this, let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. And now, welcome to South Luangwa, survival in the Valley of Predators. The story of this protected area began in 1938 when South Luangwa was recognized as a game reserve, a land that until then had remained a colonial domain. The real turning point came in the 1950s when Norman Carr introduced a bold idea that people could walk through the wild without the need for guns. From this very land, Africa's first walking safari was born. In 1972, South Luangwa was officially designated as a national park, located in the eastern province of eastern Zambia, near the borders with Malawi and Mozambique. Covering more than 9,050 square kilometers, the park stretches between the Muchinga escarpment and the winding Luangwa River, a lifeline that flows endlessly through the landscape. South Luangwa boasts an exceptional level of biodiversity, with around 60 species of mammals, nearly 450 species of birds, more than 50 species of reptiles, over 60 species of fish, and approximately 2,000 species of plants, forming one of the richest river and forest ecosystems in southern Africa. What makes the park truly special is that it is the only place where you can find unique species such as the Thornycroft's giraffe and the Cookson's wildebeest. Central Luangwa is where life gathers around the Luangwa River. As the dry season sets in, the water slowly recedes, turning the river into the only remaining source of life. Silt and sediment enrich the land, leaving behind ancient oxbow lakes that quietly continue to nurture the wild. From predators to prey, all are drawn back to this place. A walking safari in central Luangwa is a signature experience, where visitors walk 6 to 8 kilometers each day through forests and open plains. Guided by seasoned experts, every step becomes a silent journey of discovery. No engine sounds, no tires tearing through the brush, just the raw, untold story of the wild unfolding in its most untouched form. Have you ever walked through a truly wild place, or dreamed of doing it someday? Drop us a comment below before we dive into the world of some incredible wild creatures. As sunset falls over central Luangwa, the silent crown is passed to the leopard. With no need for roars or a following pride, it rules the night through quiet grace, agility, and razor-sharp precision, a true predator in its purest form. Leopard territories in the Luangwa Valley vary significantly depending on the individual and its gender. Males may occupy vast areas ranging from 28 to 56 square kilometers, while females typically control smaller ranges from 3 to over 40 square kilometers. These territories often overlap, especially between males and females during mating periods, but direct conflicts are rare unless there's immediate competition. Unlike species built for long chases or coordinated group hunts, the leopard chooses a solitary, slow, and stealthy way of life. It is neither loud nor showy, yet it stands as one of the most effective hunters in the wild. Thanks to a highly varied diet ranging from insects, birds, and reptiles to hoofed mammals, the leopard is remarkably adaptable to different environments, including the dry, open woodlands of central Luangwa. Unlike other large predators that prefer to hunt during the day, the leopard chooses the night to become the forest's unseen ruler. With night vision nearly 7 times stronger than that of humans, it uses the darkness like a cloak, masking every move in perfect concealment. The leopard's coat is covered in rosettes that serve as a perfect camouflage. When lying on a bed of sun-dappled dry leaves, it almost disappears from sight. This species ranges in size from 30 to 90 kilograms, depending on gender and living conditions, with a body length that can reach nearly 2 meters, including the tail. This species' stalking skills are iconic among predators. Every step is measured with precision, every breath held tight in the throat like an archer drawing an arrow taut on the string. When the moment is right, it launches forward at speeds of up to 58 kilometers per hour, closing the distance in a heartbeat and delivering a powerful pounce. Once the leopard has taken down its prey, it never leaves it on the ground. Not out of greed, but from a deep understanding that other carnivores, like lions or spotted hyenas, will never pass up an easy opportunity. With its powerful build, the leopard drags the carcass high into the trees, onto branches only it can reach with ease. The gently curving limbs of the mopane tree may bend, but they remain strong enough to cradle the prize for days. From the scattered rocky outcrops around the Mapan woodlands, a sound rings out, loud and decisive, breaking the silence of early morning. It's the call of the Cape baboon, one of the largest, smartest, and most socially organized primates in southern Africa. They start their day with confidence and commotion, as if this land is their well-known domain, where every step has already been mapped out in their minds. In the Luangwa Valley, chacma baboons are commonly found around rocky highlands, forest edges, and buffer zones near the river. Adult males can weigh up to 40 kilograms and measure over 1.2 meters in length, nearly 3 times the average weight of a female. Their fur ranges from brownish gray to ash gray, sometimes with a thicker mane around the neck, helping them blend easily into the dusty red terrain, rocky outcrops, and short grasslands. They live in troops ranging from 20 to 80 individuals, led by a dominant male who takes on the role of guiding movement, offering protection and maintaining order. This social structure is highly flexible, held together through behaviors like grooming, food sharing, and caring for the young. These strong social bonds not only help the troop stay united when faced with predators, but also foster a community with a remarkable capacity for learning and adaptation. As true omnivores, chacma baboons consume nearly anything digestible in their environment, from grasses, roots, fruits and tender leaves, to seeds, insects, bird eggs, and small animals like lizards, mice, and nestlings. Their flexibility in food choices is one of the key factors that allows them to thrive across a wide range of habitats, from open woodlands to semi-deserts, and even mountainous regions. In central Luangwa, they often track the seasonal changes of available resources, especially fruiting trees along the Luangwa River or near wetlands during the rainy season. When the dry season arrives, baboon troops retreat to higher ground, areas with clear vantage points and rugged terrain that help them steer clear of predators like leopards. Though they are prey animals, chacma baboons have been observed coordinating group responses for defense, especially when their young are under threat. Cape baboons use more than 30 distinct vocalizations combined with facial expressions and body postures to signal warnings, coordinate movement, or express emotion within the troop. Behavioral studies by the Wildlife Conservation Society during the 2023 to 2024 period confirmed that the body language of chacma baboons can shift depending on social context, terrain, and the relationships between individuals in the group. Their communication abilities are considered among the most complex of any non-human primate species. As the last echoes of the Cape baboon troop fade into the open woodland, a herd of impalas begins to appear on the dew-soaked grass. Slender, swift, and ever alert, they have no claws or sharp fangs, only sharp instincts and lightning-fast reflexes as their tools for survival in a wilderness full of unseen challenges. Impalas may not carry the imposing presence of larger hoofed animals, but they are masters of survival through agility. Weighing between 40 and 75 kilograms and standing around 90 centimeters at the shoulder, their body proportions are built for movement, capable of leaping up to 10 meters in distance and 3 meters high. These are not just feats of athleticism, but vital tactics for evading Africa's predators in the blink of an eye. Their wide, watchful eyes stay alert in every direction, while upright ears catch even the faintest sounds, a constant early warning system amidst thick bush and open grassland. Just as the impala herd retreats to the forest edge to escape the rising heat, the ground begins to tremble with a low, distant rumble. represents the synchronized footsteps of hundreds of Cape buffalo, moving with the order and presence of an ancient army, silently patrolling the boundary between forest and river. Cape buffalo are among the most powerfully built hoofed animals in Africa. Adult males can weigh up to 950 kilograms and stand nearly 1.7 meters tall at the shoulder, with wide, curved horns and a thick, hardened forehead shield known as the boss, both a tool for defense and a symbol of dominance within the herd. Cape buffalo are never alone. They live in large herds, sometimes numbering in the thousands. Within the herd, social structure is organized into smaller units, family groups led by females, while males typically form bachelor groups, only rejoining the main herd during the breeding season. Ecologists have even documented a behavior known as collective voting when the herd decides which direction to move. Each female stands up and faces a specific direction, and the majority ultimately determines the day's route, an instinctive form of animal democracy. The diet of Cape buffalo consists mainly of grasses and soft-stemmed vegetation, making them highly dependent on moisture and the plant growing season. During the rainy season, food is abundant across the plains, but when the dry season sets in, they are forced to move closer to the Luangwa River, sometimes even swimming across crocodile-filled waters to reach grazing areas on the opposite bank. Their impressive swimming ability is a testament to both their muscular endurance and their unyielding drive to survive. In the wild, Cape buffalo have an average lifespan of about 15 to 25 years. A female carries her calf for approximately 11 months before giving birth. The newborn is closely protected by the herd, especially during its first months of life, when lions and hyenas often lurk near shallow water sources. Studies in South Luangwa have shown that calf survival rates heavily depend on the size and structure of the herd, supporting the idea that collective strength plays a vital role in the species' survival strategies. Though they rarely hunt, Cape buffalo have earned the nickname Black Death, a name born from their unpredictable nature and ability to launch sudden counterattacks when threatened. Few animals can drive a lion into retreat, but buffalo can, especially when they band together to fight back. It's a powerful reminder that in the wild, strength doesn't come only from claws and fangs, but also from unity and the fierce will to survive that the Creator has instilled in every living being He has made. Right after the thunderous steps of the Cape buffalo herd fade, the silhouette of the lion emerges, an undisputed ruler of the Luangwa Valley. In the shimmering heat rising from the cracked earth, the lion doesn't need to flaunt its strength. Its silence alone is enough to command caution across the entire savanna. The evolutionary roots of the lion can be traced back hundreds of thousands of years, when their ancestors once roamed the icy plains of Europe, the deserts of the Middle East, and the grasslands of Africa. Today, their presence remains only in sub-Saharan Africa and a small population in India. In South Luangwa, especially in the central Luangwa region, lions still exist in relatively high density, making it one of the last natural strongholds where this majestic species continues to thrive in stable numbers. Here, lions live in tightly bonded groups known as prides, with a well-defined social structure where every individual plays an irreplaceable role. The lionesses are the heart of the pride. They work together to hunt, raise the young, and maintain the social bonds that hold the group together. Meanwhile, the males are the guardians of the territory, driving off intruders that could threaten the pride's stability and safety. The semi-arid climate of Luangwa draws a clear line between two seasons. When the dry season arrives, from May to October, the land transforms into a true test of endurance. Water becomes scarce, the grasses turn brittle and sparse, and most animals are forced to gather around the last remaining waterholes, where lions lie in wait. In the wild, lionesses move like shadows. They make no noise, no rush, only patience, like seasoned hunters born for the chase. When prey appears, they surge forward in a sudden burst, reaching speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour. Their eyes see 6 times better than a human's in the dark. Their claws are razor sharp, and their bodies are so agile they can leap over 11 meters in a single pounce. With one precise bite to the throat, the hunt ends in just seconds. According to 2024 data from Panthera and to protect nature and endangered wildlife, helping preserve this ecosystem for generations to come. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can join us on the next magical journey.